Hey guys, it's Sean Bullen, or the Archivist, as I'm known on the YouTubes, and I'm here today to open up the beginning of my brand new series. So on this is going to be a series that's going to be on my channel called Time to Rewind, and what it's going to be is it's going to be my lovely face up here on camera, and I'm going to be basically talking and reviewing different VHS and DVD movies that I remember from my childhood. I'm also just going to be reviewing VHSs that I pick up, because VHSs are very cheap nowadays, and there are a lot of awesome and also very terrible movies out there, and I really want to show you guys a lot of them. So that's going to be my goal, is to show you guys a lot of these movies, in essence. So let me just adjust the camera so you get the full expanse of my chest here, and let's get right into this, because this is the first movie I'm going to be doing for this series, and it was one I selected very carefully for a reason, and the reason is simply because it has the gentleman I was named after starring in it. And if you don't know who that is Sean Connery up here at the top. Also, his face is directly on the cover. This is The Hunt for the Red October, which is a movie made in 1990. It was based on the Tom Clancy novel by the same name that was created in 1984, and it basically details the Cold War and the sort of tension between America and Russia. And the basic plot line is one of Russia's new technologically superior subs comes out, and its captain, who is Sean Connery, also known as Marco Ramis in the movie, kind of goes rogue and takes the submarine towards American territory. And so basically the American and Russian navies are going nuts trying to reclaim the sub and figure out where it is, because the sub is virtually silent. And it's a great military thriller. If you've not seen this genre before, great one to start off on. It has a really large amount of very popular actors and just insanely good actors. So it has Sean Connery playing the Russian sub commander. It has Alex Baldwin, which is really cool, and he plays Jack Ryan, who's kind of the American equivalent. You have, let's see, I can never remember this guy's name, James Earl Jones, and he plays another major lead in the American CIA agency in this movie. And James Earl Jones is the gentleman who voiced Darth Vader in the original Star Wars trilogy. So basically, 1977 Star Wars, New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, all voiced by James Earl Jones, and he shows up in person in this movie, and it is awesome. I loved his acting portion. He was just so into it, and his part was just so much better for it. It just to let you know a couple things about this movie in essence. As I mentioned, it's based on a novel. One of the highest grossing films for 1990. It grossed like $112 million, like insane. A lot of critics loved it. I personally loved it as I watched it, clearly, because I'm talking about it. Just a couple of other awesome things I have to bring up. It featured the acting in here, if you haven't seen before, is a really good example of acting. There's a lot of scenes where instead of having like all this over-the-top tension music, this suspenseful music, it just has sort of silence with the creaking of the subs around you. So there's a really heavy, just industrial atmosphere, and the actors are then just almost trading subtle facial connections, so they're like not even talking to each other, they're sort of like glancing at each other, but there's so much emotion presented as they do this that it's just mind-blowing. I have not seen a movie of this quality of acting in a long time, and so I was giggling like a little schoolgirl watching it. Also, come on, if you haven't heard Sean Connery as a voice before, you've been missing out, because it is like the voice of the gods. You should listen to it. Check out this movie. And I know that not all of you have VHS players, and not all of you like VHS tapes in general. If so, they also made a DVD and a Blu-ray release for this movie, so you have no reason why you can't just go find it at like your local Walmart, or just check it out on like Redbox probably, and just try it out for like $1 and see if you like it or not. But I absolutely adored this. In addition to the acting, during the silent or quiet sections, the sections with dialogue are just incredible. The dialogue for this movie is just fantastic. I loved. The problem with Tom Clancy novels, I guess, is just to jump back a quick second, is that the characters are very in-depth. Like, he puts a lot of thought into everything in his novel, and for that reason, his characters are usually very deep, multifaceted creations. And with that comes a problem, which is that how do you take a 4-hour plus long novel and convert that into a 2-hour movie while still keeping the same depth of character? But I can say that the writers for this script, which included help from Tom Clancy himself, were able to pull that off brilliantly. I never once felt like a character they introduced was just for fluff. Every character who's featured in this movie, even like the minor side characters who come in for like 12 minutes of the movie's time, if that, have amazingly well written dialogue and acted out beautifully. Hold on a second. Looks like we got somebody coming back in. 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody. The archivist is back. Sorry, that took way longer than I thought. First, they had to answer my door, then my audio and computer crashed, and all sorts of weird stuff. But I am back now. It's still the same day, but like 3 hours more into it. Anyway, where I left off with the last segment was that I was talking about the actors in Hunt for the Red October and these sub-actors and all the great dialogue. And I really enjoyed that, and I would highly advise you check the movie out for just that, the dialogue itself. But also the music was insanely good, so there's a lot of creaking and groaning of the submarines throughout it as you're traveling around inside the subs. And often there would be periods of silence where you just had that as your background music, and that was kind of weird, but I really enjoyed the way that sounded and how the actors played to that. And there was a lot of very tense scenes where that was the only thing to break up the tension in the air. It was really good. And then, of course, the actual music portion of it itself was amazingly well composed. Lots of great songs, incredibly sung. I want to get the soundtrack for Hunt for the Red October for exactly that reason. There was just a lot of great songs in there. See, as you can see, I get distracted, I get tangents. ADD, I swear. I also like the pacing. So a lot of modern movies nowadays have a lot of issues with pacing, which is having a good beginning, middle, and end, or sorry, beginning, middle, and end. And this movie did a really good job of that, where I never felt like we were introduced to too many characters at once. We slowly learned about different groups of characters as we went along, and I always had enough time to learn what they were doing, how they fit into the story, who they were interacting with, and why, before they moved on to the next set of actors and such. And so I really enjoyed the movie for that reason. Was just the good pacing throughout and the nice clean ending where I didn't feel like there were any loose ends, there was nothing left going on, and it just ended in a slightly different way from the actual book, but it still ended in a way that I would say respected the original source material, which a lot of films now don't do so much as well, or at least not in my opinion. Basically, that's it for my comments on The Hunt for the Red October. Once again, if you've not had a chance to check it out yet, it's on DVD, VHS, and probably Redbox or Netflix or one of those. Please check it out. It's well worth the trip. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, questions about just VHS collecting or old stuff in general, please leave me something in the description, not the description, the comment box below, or PM me or email me at unknownarchivist@gmail.com, and I'll make sure to get back to you guys in a short amount of time. Thank you very much for watching this video, guys, and have a great day today.